Alright, YouTube players, here we go. We're on Jeppeson flight lesson 2, and we're going to do a pre-flight inspection of Red Rocket here. First, what we want to do is make sure we have a checklist. So I have my checklist here. I've already touched the oil, and I wanted to talk about oil a little bit. And I know you're probably going to be flying a different plane than me, but you're probably going to be flying 172, 152 Cessna. But let's talk about oil. I already checked the oil here on Red Rocket. I'm going to go ahead and just put the cap back on here. And briefly wanted to go over the cap. So real important to close the oil cap on aviation aircraft. If you don't, it'll make a suction and it'll suck the oil out, spread it everywhere. So you always want to make sure that's clicked. I got oil one time in Grand Junction when I was flying cargo, and I was flying Cessna 206, and the oil cap, I had the ramp guys did my oil. They didn't put the cap on, and I didn't check it. I just assumed they did it. So that's why we always want to check. I was flying from Grand Junction to Salt Lake City, and it looked as though my engine blew up, and I had oil coming all up my windscreen, so bad I couldn't even see. And it was just a minuscule amount of oil. I mean, it wasn't much more than probably half a quart, but it covered the entire windscreen and entire half of the plane. So we always want to make sure that that's closed. I thought my engine exploded, and I had to land, open the window on the side, and I was looking out the window and had to land that way. Cleaned it all up, figured out what the problem was, flew back to Salt Lake City. But we want to make sure that's done, because just a little amount of oil, I mean, the wind just slaps it and spreads it. And it was just maybe what came out was probably only a quart of oil. It wasn't a big deal, but it just covered the entire plane, the entire windscreen. So we always want to make sure that is done. So let's go over here. I'm going to put on mine. I have a little flap here. I always want to make sure that this is closed here. So I'm going to go ahead and close it. There's a little lock here. I'm going to make sure that that's locked. And clicked. So we're going to go ahead and put the very easy on the nose here. So I got my master on. I'm going to do the gear up. Make sure it's aligned. That's going to go down. I'll turn the master switch off. Go right here to checklist. Master mags off. Canopy latches. Check latches. You just want to go all the way through. I have my checklist on my pad here. So I'm going to use that. But you always want to do a checklist. Why? Because you're going to get so caught up in doing something else, and you're going to forget something. And that's why we use checklists. It helps prevent us from forgetting something. We use it every single time. So that's what we're going to do here. I'm going to check the canopy latches, my master switch off, mags off. So here, and I'll show you here, but this is my master switch. My mags, they're both off. Go back to my checklist here. All right. Fuel check quantity. Fuel's here. Fuel's off. I have a little cup here. And what we're going to do is just we're going to make sure that there's no water in the fuel. I'm hangered, so I don't get a lot of moisture or anything like that, but we always want to make sure that that's correct. And as you can see here, I'm just checking for any kind of debris in the fuel. If there is, they'd look like little bubbles. And I'm just going to spit just to kind of show you what it looks like. But you can see how it makes a little bubble in there, and that's how you know you have water. Usually my spit isn't as heavy as water, I guess, but generally the water will be at the bottom like little bubbles, but that's what it would look like. That's what we want to prevent. We want to make sure also the color of the fuel. We use aviation fuel, 110 low lead. It's a blue color, so we want to make sure that also. We can just do a little bit on the ramp there. It'll dry up here in a second. Let's go ahead and get this side. We have nothing, which is fantastic. Throw it out there, put this back, and we'll keep going through our checklist here. All right. All my caps, I have fuel. I have 2 fuels. This is my reserve, which is awesome. So if I get low, I always got 45 minutes. This is my fuel. I can almost got a full tank there, which is great. So now it's going to go to engine prop, and I'm going to walk this around. I do mine just because it's very easy. Isn't that great? I'm going to do my normal walk around here. I'm going to go through and make sure I did everything. But I'm going to walk around here. I'm going to check fuel caps, tires, properly inflated. Walk the wing, make sure there's no damage. Check for any loose bolts. Any kind of damage I'm checking for. Here we go, the prop. This bad boy. Check for any cracks. And there are none. I'm checking security. Pipe security. Secured. Nothing obstructing, because a lot of my cooling is from here. Good, good. Checking to make sure all my bolts are correct. Got some oil on my finger. All right, check. And I like to physically touch it. Make sure bolts are secure. It's clamped. Anything that might be out of the ordinary. Front canard, make sure it's secure. Secure pitot tube. And I'm going to go through my checklist here and just verify I checked everything. So we are good. But that is our pre-flight. And we also want to check 2 other things. One is that our pilot, we as pilots, we have logbooks. We record all of our flights. Airplane, it also has logbooks. This isn't a commercial aircraft, so I don't have the requirements that other aircraft you may have at your flight school. You want to check the logbooks on the aircraft before you fly. Also, make sure it has a 50 hour. Every 50 hour it requires an inspection. 100 hour, make sure 100 hour inspection in the logbook. And annual on the aircraft is all being completed before you fly. And then next I want to go, so that is the logbooks for the aircraft. And then you're also going to have your paperwork that the plane needs, and we use an acronym for that, which is ARROW, A-R-R-O-W. A is for airworthiness. I keep mine all here. I want to keep mine safe. But you got your airworthiness, your registration. Another R is radio license. Now we don't use radio license anymore. O is operator's handbook, and W is weight and balance. But that's the pre-flight of the aircraft. So pre-flight, we got the pre-flight checklist. We have the pre-flight hours of operation, which is 100 hour, 50 hour, annual, and arrow. And then we're going to go up and we'll do our Jeppeson syllabus. And before every flight with your flight instructor, you want to make sure that you have a syllabus and you're looking in the syllabus before each flight. Just kind of go over what you're going to go over with the flight instructor, just to give you an idea what that lesson is going to be about. Fantastic. It really gives you a heads up on what the training is going to be for the day. And also you want to just be prepared. It's going to save you a lot of money if you're doing all this beforehand. Once you get some knowledge from the flight instructor, you can do a lot of stuff in a simulator too before your flight. It's going to save you just a ton of money, and that's what we want to do, is just try to make it so you're getting the minimum 40 hours that's required for a private pilot, 30 hours for recreational, 20 for a sport pilot. You want to get that time to a minimum with the most education that you can pile in. So that's going to require just a little heads up work prior to any flight, to kind of get this information beforehand, so you know what to expect for that flight. You know what you're going to do. You know what the air work's going to be done. You know what groundwork, and you went over some of that prior to. And all that's going to save you just a ton of money down the road. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take Red Rocket up today, just do the Jeppeson Flight 2, which is we're just going to do some air work. We're going to look at straight and level flight, some turns. Of course, we're going to do a takeoff and landing because it's almost required, almost. But also we're going to learn about scanning for other aircraft, because we're visual flight rules, so we don't have. And what visual flight rules means is, everything is going to be, you don't have a controller looking out with radar for other aircraft that may collide with you. It's just you and your aircraft. So we're going to scan the skies. So prior to taking off here, we're just going to talk about how we scan for skies. So and how we do that is we're looking straight ahead, and I'll do it once we're in the plane too, but I'm just going to go briefly over that. And we take a certain section of the sky. Here's a section, here's a section, and I just look at that section, just hold my eyes steady, and that one section. And if I do that, I can see any kind of movement really easily. And that's what it's going to be really hard to see aircraft when you're up in the air, because they get camouflaged with the ground or with clouds, or here's someone taking off in this white plane here. Up in the air, especially on a snowy day, he's going to be really hard to see. How can we see him? What's going to make it easier for us to see? Well, we're going to scan the sky, and if he was, obviously he's going to be really just a small speck, but once he's up in the sky. But if I got that one section of the sky and I hold my head there for 5 seconds, I'll see any kind of movement. Even if he's camouflaged, that's what's going to help me see. And I'm going to do it all 180 degrees. So I'm going to stop, scan, stop, scan, stop, scan, stop, scan. And I'm actually seeing aircraft right now as I'm scanning. I can, just sitting here on the ground, I can see a couple aircraft up there. You probably can't see at home there, but I'm stopping, scanning. Here's an aircraft. Stop, scan, stop, scan, stop, scan, stop, scan. But what you're going to see, you may not see the plane if you're moving your head, but you're going to see that plane if you're stopped and you're looking in that 5 seconds there. You're going to see the movement, even if he's camouflaged. But that's good. Now we're going to get the plane, head up. It is Christmas Eve, which is awesome, so we're going to go up and get some time. He's going to go up and get some time too. Maybe we'll scan and see him up there, and let's keep this going.